The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf.
This was really driven off strong performance in our base metals portfolio, which increased 150% on 2024. So what we're seeing now is really strong momentum. We've expected this momentum, but of course, it's great to see it come through.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Marc Bishop-Lafleche, the CEO of Ecora Royalties. Marc, very good to speak with you, and also a good start this year with the share price. And you also had a good trading update out last week. Can you take us through the highlights, please?
Yeah, well, it's been great to be here with you, Stephen. And it was a great end to 2025. I think looking back on the year, it's very clearly an inflection point for this business where for the first time in at least 25 years, we've seen the base metals and critical minerals assets represent the majority of the portfolio's revenue, a great milestone, a landmark year. And this was really driven off strong performance in our base metals portfolio, which increased 150% on 2024. So what we're seeing now is really strong momentum. We've expected this momentum, but of course, it's great to see it come through.
Marc, what's been driving that base metals performance?
This is a combination of volume growth with commodity price tailwinds. We saw very strong volume growth at the Voisey's Bay cobalt stream, where that mine, Voisey's Bay, has been ramping up very strongly, with further volume growth expected at Voisey's this year. We saw the continued ramp up and production increase at the Mimbula copper stream, which we acquired in March of last year. That asset is now running, based on Q4 production, around 20,000 tons of copper per year. Further volume growth as that asset continues to be expanded during the course of 2026 is expected. And Mantos Blancos had a phenomenal year. This is a royalty we acquired in 2019. A number of debottlenecking initiatives were conducted in 2024, and we really saw that come through on production during the course of 2025.
Marc, how's the balance sheet looking at year-end post the Mimbula acquisition?
In March last year, we acquired a $50 million producing copper stream. That took our net debt to just under $130 million. As of the end of Q4, net debt was approximately $85 million, roughly equivalent to where we were at the start of calendar year 2025. And that really strong deleveraging is in part a function of the strong cash flow generation of this portfolio. That's expected to continue in the coming years. And the business is very well positioned as a result to continue to grow and diversify its royalty portfolio.
Marc, what's the market for new royalties like at the moment? Is the strong commodity price environment a hindrance or a help?
It's definitely helpful. Ecora is never usually the full source of financing when we are involved in capital, for example, to fund the construction of a new operation. And equity capital is necessary to represent a portion of that capital structure. So in general, I think you could conclude that it's very helpful and it unlocks a source of an opportunity set that otherwise may have been more limited in the past 5-10 years.
Marc, what should we be looking out for from Ecora in the year ahead?
In terms of outlook, we think it's very layered. That first layer starts with volume growth from our producing portfolio. So in other words, royalties that are in production today are expected to benefit from increased production at certain operations, in particular Voisey's Bay and Mimbula. Beyond that, there's potential for continued brownfield expansion, Mantos Blancos, for example. And the next layer would include near-term development assets, for example, Capstone Santo Domingo, BHP's West Musgrave project. And then beyond that, the earlier, medium, and earlier stages of the portfolio, key catalysts or milestones that are expected to unlock value as these projects are advanced to closer to first production. Through it all, we are currently benefiting from very strong commodity price backdrop in copper, uranium, cobalt, amongst other commodities. And I think the outlook is very positive.
Marc, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Marc Bishop-Lafleche, the CEO of Ecora Royalties.
The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf. It is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, an offer, or a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Viewers should conduct their own research and consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of Proactive Group Holdings, trading as Proactive Investors or its affiliates. No responsibility is accepted for any loss arising from reliance on the information presented.